Hello everybody, and welcome to yet another Final Fantasy stream. So, today we're basically just gonna keep going with the MSQ stuff, because yeah, there's really a whole lot else to do right now. But yeah, hey there Yoko and Fireball, welcome to the stream. So yeah, it's basically just gonna be more MSQ of Endwalker because not much else to really do. Let's see. Looking since you have a D&D session in 10 minutes. Okay. Good luck with the D&D. Hopefully there's no TPKs. Yeah, let's see here. A little bit earlier today, and technically also, I think Sunday, maybe? I don't actually fully remember when it was that I did this, but went and got to rank 2 in Labyrinthos, so I could get the mount speed increase in Labyrinthos, because kind of wanted that thing, because otherwise we move extremely slowly. Also, something that I've found out that I absolutely hate about Labyrinthos is, at least currently, the only way to get to the radial circuit, as far as I know, is we need to go through the fucking cave. Why? Why? This is so annoying. I really hope that whenever they basically send us back to this place, that they at least open up for like this, because there is a person you can talk to here, from what I've seen, that I'm assuming can let you down, because it's like a lift controller or something like that. But yeah, basically having to go down here in order to do the fates down here, that's annoying. It's all for the hell. For the fun of the hell of it. It's just a little bit annoying, but I guess it kind of makes sense for like when you go through the quest there in the beginning, because it's like start up here and then you're like slowly introduced over to this way and then go down this way and so on. It's just when you try to like explore this place down here, it's like, oh great, let's go through the caves, especially when there's fates and you need to like make sure you get there in time. Anyway, let's talk to Kryl and accept in the dark of the tower. It's also our first level 81 quest, and I kind of tried looking it up because I was a little bit unsure of like what or like how many quests basically had, like the whole 80 and 81 basically. Apparently there's only 3 quests that are level 81, which I'm kind of like, what? That seems like very few. So much easier to do when you can fly, yeah. But I mean, that kind of makes sense. Wait, quest. Since there has been progress in both investigations, shall we share the findings from our respective locales? Voice cutscene, perhaps? Would make sense for a voice cutscene here. I feel like, oh, that definitely looks like it could be.
Your time in Thavnair has certainly been eventful. In my opinion, carrying out Vitra's request and assaulting the Tower of Zot should be our highest priority.
I agree. While I still have questions concerning the Forum and their grand undertaking, we have all but exhausted our avenues of investigation. Simply pressing them any harder on the subject will almost certainly result in our expulsion. Therefore, I suggest we explore the ethereal sea connection by way of a letter to Master Matoya, then make our way to Thavnair.
I wonder, even with the protection these talismans afford us, what can we hope to achieve once inside the tower? According to Orenvold and Fodola's report, they were unable to free the Emolja. Worse, their attempts triggered the tower's defenses, which led to a summoning of Luna Ifrit.
What does it tell us that the Spires even have such defenses? Simply pulling a prisoner from the wall is fatal, thus the direct approach is doomed to failure from the outset. Any further measures to dissuade such actions seem unnecessary. Unless, of course, there is a way to free the prisoners without killing them. Then it stands to reason that any intruders will be met with overwhelming force.
The towers appeared throughout the world in but the twinkling of an eye. 'Twas by magical means these structures were raised, I surmise. A spire thus conjured must needs be maintained, and I suspect an arcane catalyst, some manner of core, doth lie hidden within.
Hey.
Destroy the core, and the tower ceaseth to be, thus liberating the captives without harm.
So we can hope, and I would prefer to enter the tower with a working theory than with no plan at all.
Assuming Ishtola's reasoning is correct, the chances of the defenses remaining dormant are small to none. Any primals will have to be dealt with, and defeating one will likely only lead to the summoning of another. Our every victory will only compound the prisoner's suffering.
May we not then divide our forces? Those proficient in healing will focus on sustaining the captives. That duty can be covered by Urianger, Kryl, Yostola, and myself. The remaining Scions will proceed with the search for the core. Admittedly, this strategy puts both parties at greater risk, but it should bolster our chances of saving the Arcosodra by a considerable margin.
Are you sure Alvino is in the right group? One of Alizé, she knows a healing spell or two. Let's go with the Alizé one.
That she does. But I think Alizé herself would assert that she's at her best when she's charging onto the breach. And from what I recall from the Grand Cosmos, there's a spring in her step when she fights by your side.
Ye gods, will you never let me hear the end of that? Rest assured that I will do what is asked of me, regardless of who I happen to be standing next to at any given time.
It seems we have a plan. All that remains is to carry it out. I will inform Radzithan of our movements, so let us make our preparations and regroup near the tower.
The military post in what's left of the Hamsa hatchery should serve as a convenient staging point.
That sounds perfect. And remember, the experimental aetherite at the confluence is there for those who need it, so there's no excuse for being late.
And thinking we don't need to use it. Because otherwise we would have had to use that, or we got ether sickness again. You say, please don't use that one. I'm actually curious, could you potentially use it? Also, I can see, I forgot to change my graphics settings back, because let's just say that yesterday I ended up trying to render a video. That was not a good idea to do while basically, let's do that. Basically ended up I was rendering a video yesterday that took forever, and I also ended up to render it and play games at the same time. I know, it was just I was supposed to basically go to a event that my FC had. think it was just it wasn't necessarily a good idea to do that at the same time as like what I was like as while I was doing the rendering. The only problem was just the rendering didn't end until like 5 or 6 this morning. I think I started like I think it went on for like 16 hours was the time it took for it to render. It took so goddamn long. Yeah, that was not exactly fun. But yeah, you can't use that. I had a feeling you probably wouldn't. So let's see, the great work. But yeah, that was basically. I'm basically currently in the process of very slowly, because this is something that I can't necessarily do every day. Basically, you've also gotten there. Yeah, I've basically slowly gotten started on, to an extent, uploading videos to a second channel on YouTube that I've made, which I'm basically going to use as a sort of stream archive. The thing is just that I have I don't think that's going to be necessary. It's like barely in distance over there after all. Yeah, I've basically been let's see, I have exported all of the streams that I that I had over on that I've had here on Twitch to that YouTube channel, and I have then also what is that called? Started basically slowly editing some of the older streams from. I basically have older streams from all the way back when I started playing Final Fantasy XIV. And the thing is just that was from before I became a VTuber, so I'm currently in the process of basically having to go in and, because I don't want like my webcam from those streams to be shown, I'm basically sitting there and editing like a square, like a black square basically, over that. And then I need to render it, and it takes forever for that shit to render because my PC isn't exactly like made for rendering. And then it's also like, hey, here's like the first stream that I did was an 8-hour stream that I ended up rendering. Almost 9, to be honest, but I did cut out like 45 minutes because that was just like a break that I had taken. I'm basically thinking most of the streams I'm not going to do anything with in terms of like editing down stuff. It's mainly just the first couple of them where I wasn't a VTuber that I'm basically going to be like editing stuff with. Otherwise it's basically just convert them from, I'm forgetting what the hell that file type is. What is it? File type again that it's getting saved as. I'm basically all I need to do is basically convert it from MKV format, because that's what I'm basically recording them in while I'm streaming, because I guess that's a better format to do it in, because it actually allows me to not necessarily lose the file in case something breaks along it. Like, I know that if I just record them as MP4 files, if for some reason the storage or there's basically not enough space anymore for the file to be saved, that breaks the file. Because I had that happen to a Dark Souls video that I once tried recording, where it was a let's play. Not exactly ideal. Basically lose like 30 minutes plus of just footage because you ran out of space. That apparently doesn't happen with these, so yeah. And luckily OBS basically has a feature where it's just you just convert all the things over to MP4 files. Hopefully it isn't a huge deal to do all of that. It's just gonna take a long ass time to basically edit those videos and also upload them, because I get the feeling that the upload is gonna take a while as well. Anyway, let's talk to this guy.
Our friend of Eorzea, we've been expecting you. You and yours will lead the mission into the tower, I'm told. The warding scales will be delivered soon. Till then, please stand by at the boat we have readied. When your fellows arrive, I will direct them to join you. We pray for your safety and success.
Okay, down to the boat. Come on, game, please load. There we go. So this is slightly not voice acted.
If this is the future of Aetheroid travel, I think I'll stick to boats.
No warning, however emphatic, could have prepared me for that. On account of which we are a little late, but fighting fit. Mostly. My friends, permit me to thank you for accepting this mission.
You must be, HM. We should still call you Varshan, I suppose?
Indeed. It would not do to confuse our soldiers.
Very well, then. For our part, we are humbled that you should see fit to entrust us with your warding scales. Please convey as much to His Excellency.
And it's conveyed.
One for each of you. Please accept them with my blessings. Our thanks. With these, we can go anywhere those with the blessing of light can go. Not only for this operation either, but all the ones to come. We can finally break your monopoly on primals.
True. I've been waiting for this day. I wouldn't mind carrying on as before, you know. In that case, they're all yours from now on. Waiting for this day.
So have we, my friend. So have we.
If everyone is amenable to it, let us review the strategy for good measure. As previously agreed, we will divide into two groups. Shauna and her band will break through the tower's defenses and locate its core. Meanwhile, the rest of us will tend to the prisoners, who will doubtless want for healing due to the duress of repeated summonings.
The primals which the tower bringeth forth shall be deities of Thavnarian myth. As we have no prior experience with such foes, pray exercise the utmost caution when confronting them. We commence the operation at your word, my friend. For the people of Thavnar, nay, the entire world, we must prevail.
Tower of Sod is now accessible. Nice. I'm actually curious, what does the roles actually say? Let's see, Sage, Red Mage, Gunbreaker, and Riku. Okay, pretty simple. You know why? Yep. It's actually kind of weird now that I need to select this tab. Ah. I'm assuming you're ready. Let me actually also switch over to party chat. So selected the correct thing. Do I want to go in blind or on your guidance? I'm thinking of just like going in blind, to be honest. So if you're ready, then we can just jump in, I guess. Okay, let's see, less than 5 minutes apparently. Things to say here. Let's see here. Rithra, the Great Worm of the First Brood, and the Strava of Rats at Han split the sands across to Narunair and mount a foray into the tiny island's unnatural spire. Telephoroy, structure known by the locals as the Tower of Sod. Companions join you on your journey. Protective talismans can prepare to face whatever unarmed or unnamed horrors await you within. Come with me, you cannot avoid Nidhana and her kin perish, or cannot allow Nidhana and her kin to perish in the grip of dark magics and darker designs. You apparently want me to get inside the car, I guess. Just taking a drive along the beach, I guess. I just earned a good deal of gil there. Over 100,000. I actually also ended up winning $500,000 yesterday. Basically, the event that I was at was a what would you call that? A housewarming / slumber party for one of my FC mates and one of their. I'm not 100% sure on what the relationship is, but either friend or girlfriend / boyfriend / partner, whatever, whichever one is correct. But yeah, they basically had a house, wanted to do a housewarming thing, and yeah, just have a slumber party at the same time. So they basically had like some mini games that we played, which was we did some death rolling with a little twist where if one of us, basically we all played against the whatever the host, I believe it was, I want to make sure that I say their name correctly, Dati. We basically played against the Dati. And if any of us won, we would basically get 100,000. If we lost, we would pay Dadadi 100,000, and that would basically go into the pool for the next person who won. So, if 3 people lost, the pool would basically have gone up by 300,000, aka 400,000 you could win. Then there was a quiz, and oh god, what else was there? There were basically like several different things you could participate in. They also had a big death roll thing where it was basically like everyone who participated. I only participated in one of them, even though I should probably have participated in all of them. It would basically all do the like do a slash random, and basically the one person of the entire group that rolled that had the lowest number would basically lose and get kicked out, or basically not be part of the game anymore. And basically we would keep doing that until the last person basically was left, or until there was only one person left basically, and that person basically won. It was 100,000, something like that, and a minion, of which two of them were, I think one of them was relatively valuable, and the other one also a bit valuable.
A foul place, this. Let us proceed with caution.
And the reason I won like 500,000 and also
the only way is through.
And also a minion basically is because I ended up getting second place in
we'll free you
a
from
glamour
this place,
contest.
I promise.
Basically we need to like make a glamour for like all that a slumber party basically. Yeah, just ended up winning second place basically, so that was nice. Unfortunately, the two minions that I could get I already had, so it didn't really matter, so I just went with the one that I was thinking would probably sell for the most.
I sense a great surge of ether, as if a summoning hath begun.
Look. Those beastly masks. It's the Manashya, come to life. We will focus on sustaining the Arkazodara.
The rest of you must keep going. Onwards and upwards.
And that's the boss over there, as far as I can see. Oh, I think that isn't that one of the sisters that we were told about. I guess.
Begone from our tower. Begone, or become prey for the Magus. Behold our ingenious magics.
That's what it does. That's interesting.
Dance. Dance until death claims you.
That seems like more confusing case methods, to be honest. Guessing there's probably gonna be at least one more of those as things can transfer to fire. If I remember correctly, the fire one is centered AoE. Almost dead. Transmute thunder and fire. Like matter.
So, you have chosen Defiance.
Tempered Imperials, or those, they don't look like what I imagine Imperials look like. They kind of look a little bit monstrous. That's not really what I could, yeah, so I'm just gonna read. Okay. Yes, that's another boss. Yep. That's another one of those sisters.
The tower must be protected. We will not let it fall.
So that's the tank boss there.
You will not steal away our prosperity.
I'm guessing they all explode. Yep. Okay, so once that reaches 0, we'll be frozen in time again.
We hear it. We heed it. The call to defend the tower.
Yep. Okay, this boss is honestly a little bit confusing. I did not understand what I was supposed to be looking out for there. The confusion. Guessing it might be something like she just stands still. That's what you're supposed to be looking out for. I guess. There's something visually that indicates it.
If I alone cannot expel you,
More stuff. Cutscene already. I'm guessing that's the core. Got the last sister. No matter the cost, we must protect the tower. Harbinger elect Maga's sisters. The other two gonna appear during this fight, I wonder?
You persist in your desecration? Then face the full wrath of the Magus.
Oh.
Join with me, sisters. Insatiable flame, consume our foe.
I'm guessing it's mechanics from all of them at once. So it's just focus one of them down as much as possible.
Join with me, sisters. Glacial ice, entomb our foe. Join with me, sisters. Thunderous tempest, smite our foe.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff happening in this fight, to be honest. do anything until Transcendence is gone.
Join with me,
Safe side.
sisters. Insatiable flame, consume our foe.
The one's down. Guessing the other two are likely weaker. Guessing. Not a lot of space there for us to stand in. Nice. I would say these bosses were a little bit on the more difficult side. Do that and drink that. And voice cutscene, I'm guessing. Most likely.
Is everyone all right?
We fortified the captives with what magics we could. Have the defenses been disabled? All appears quiet for the moment.
The lower floors were disturbing enough, but this place feels wrong. The ether is heavy and thick, like wading through a quagmire.
I believe we stand in the tower's beating heart. What sayest thou, Ishtola?
I see it. Ether siphoned from the land runs up through the spire, flowing to a single point. This is the core we seek. Yet something is off. As large as this structure is, it siphons far more ether than is required to sustain it. 'Tis as if the core is feeding on the energy, consuming it. I need to take a closer look. Curious. There is something there, embedded inside the core. A man's limb.
This is what we came to destroy?
Yes, if you would be so kind.
There's a limb in there? What?
And that should be the end of it.
I was going down, I'm guessing.
What now?
My theory that the tower might come crashing down following the core's destruction doth appear to be correct.
Bully for you! And how are we supposed to survive the fall?
What of the prisoners below?
The floor beneath our very feet dissolves. Brace yourselves!
I pray I'm not too late.
What are you doing, bruh? A teleporting spell or what?
Oh, what happened? Where are we?
By my reckoning, we're still on the island where the tower stood. But 'tis as if it never existed. Hardly a scratch. But how?
What did Graha do?
Graha wove a levitation spell at the last moment. Large enough to catch everyone, it would seem.
Damn.
That explains the lack of obvious injuries.
The expenditure of so much ether has taken its toll. He will need plenty of rest, but should otherwise be none the worse for wear.
He's just tired.
Then the immediate problem is what to do with our new friends here. They'll be much changed for their time in the tower. Even if their bodies are intact, I doubt we could say the same for their minds.
Angelo and I will take care of that.
I have every faith in you, Alize, but there are just too many for you to treat alone.
We'll send at once to Eorzea for more porksies, and call on the local mages to lend a hand.
Hail, Scions! We were watching the tower when it simply disappeared. What happened here?
The threat is banished, and thy people delivered. They are, however, in need of treatment, and we of a secure locale and helping hands to assist us in its provision.
You shall have all this and more. Come, let us convey these unfortunate souls to the city.
Okay.
The liberated prisoners are being transported to Radz-at-Han for treatment. Alizé and Y'shtola will oversee the administration of the tempering treatment, with support from those who know a healing spell or two.
Okay, I don't know why, but for some reason I ended up in instance 3 of Thepnir. I guess there are so many people here that they ended up putting me in a different instance.
We'll go and join them in the city once you've had a moment to catch your breath.
We're already in instance 3. Still, it's like...
You may now enter the Tower of Zot with a party of NPCs.
Ah, does that. Yeah, I'm just like... I feel like it's not often that I get put in an instance. Even if we were already in that, I just had noticed it before, but like... it's apparently only like 15-20 people that make... to make one. Just thinking that it's... I feel like it's rare that I end up in an instance, like it's usually only in Mordona that I can think of that I've ended up in an instance. That's usually because it's like a pretty big hub for a lot of stuff. Okay, let's see, the Jewel of Thepnir.
Had enough rest, have you? You never were one for being idle. Right, Varzhan bade us come to Meghaduda at our earliest convenience. The others will join us there once they have finished tending to the prisoners. Ah, wait. On second thought, you and Estinian should go on ahead. I need to make a quick detour by the great work. We left Graha in the alchemist's care, you see. Best to fetch him before he's crammed into a specimen jar. Just you and me, then. The guardsmen at the gate should wave us through.
I've had Gridania be too congested to enter. Yeah, I've also had that a few times, not necessarily Gridania, but like just some city where it's tried like teleporting or like entering where it's like, there are too many people, which is kind of weird to like have show up. Especially when you're not like used to that happening, like suddenly seeing that, oh yeah, you can't enter Ulda, Limsa, or Gridania because there's too many people. Like that just seems weird. But it's not something that I experience that often, to be honest. But those things for the fate, I was like, why can I collect things there? But it makes sense that it's fate stuff. Okay, so speak with the Radiant Godsman.
With the tower gone, I expect that the state of alert will be lifted. Ah, honored scions. You are free to enter at your leisure. As I cannot leave my post, I'm afraid you must make your own way. Should you require directions in the city, the sentry stationed at the fountain atop the steps should be glad to assist you.
Okay. And we actually have access to Radz-at-Han now.
Though I have been to Radz-at-Han before, this place is a veritable maze. Rather than risk getting lost, we had best ask for directions from the sentry at the fountain. Lead the way, and don't expect me to act as your tour guide like certain others. Estinian is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side. You can leave if you wish.
All that stuff with Estinian. You don't know. I think it depends on how you build the server meshing and stuff. I get the feeling there might be differences between the patches. Yeah, probably. Okay, you can also attune. Nice. So can I also attune to the big aetherite? That's mainly what I'm most curious about.
According to the message on the base, this aetherite has been temporary.
Of course. Of course it is. There's no talking locations for this Dinian right now.
Ah, Mistress Shauna, I presume. I understand you are here for an audience with the satrap. If you require directions to Meghaduta, I should be glad to provide them. The satrap's residence is situated in Dharma, the highest part of Radz-at-Han. To get there, I would ordinarily recommend a route that takes you by the bazaars in the city's north. Due to the state of alert, however, most businesses are currently closed, and the aetherite disabled. As such, I will provide you with an alternate path. First, please ascend the steps next to this fountain, then continue left. There will be more steps, and upon ascending them, you will emerge on Pax's path. Proceed through the large door on the right, and you will arrive at Ravita Fibers. Within you will find another sentry who will give you further guidance. In other words, we head up. Sounds straightforward enough.
Okay. Before we do that though, I kind of... Okay, we got a talking location over there. Kind of want to see if... Yep, that one is available. I think I'm quickly getting that expanding House of Splendors. Because might as well.
Oh ho. You must be Shauna. Mistress Rowena's told me all about you. Says you're quite the renowned culinarian. The name's off Balana, by the way. The mistress charged me with managing her Radz-at-Han branch. Looking forward to doing business with you. Which isn't to say I've got anything special to ask of you. All I mean is that your business is just as welcome here as it is at any other House of Splendors. Of course, I'd certainly prefer you do more of your business here than anywhere else. Esteemed clients like yourself will attract even more customers, YZE. And if we keep drawing in business at a good clip, before long we'll have to rebrand as Off Balana's House of Splendors. That old witch won't know what hit ER. ER, don't you worry about that last part. Just peruse our wares and buy something if it strikes your fancy.
Radz-at-Han feels kind of strange to navigate, but it's not actually hard to navigate for some reason. Ah. Oh yeah, we also now have access to purple scripts, which I don't have any of. So let's see what we have access to. We have gear as well. Purple gear. Okay. I should probably try and get this, which does mean that I need to get a lot of scripts, it seems like, because this is like full sets for each of them. God damn it. I think I'm probably gonna have to start actually doing the proper gear progression for crafting and gathering, because yeah, as far as I understand, you might not necessarily be able to get a lot of purple scripts easily, because I think you basically need a high enough collectability, and that's not exactly easy to get always. Let me actually check over here. Let's see. Basically have these things, but they don't give purple scripts for some reason. We get white scripts. Is a decent amount of white scripts though, and it's also a good amount of XP. What, like over 1 million? Okay, I need to be level 90 in order to actually get the purple scripts. Good to know. So currently I can, I believe, only make 2 different things. If I can make carpenter stuff and leatherworker stuff. So let's see, to make these, what do I need for that? I need several things that I can probably not get easily right now. Fishing rod, what do I need for that? Some of the same stuff to an extent. And thankfully I can also get some of this, which might actually be a little bit easier. Although in order to get, you know, the fishing things, I do need the Tome of Ecology, Folklore, Elzebard, and the Northern Empty. And I probably can't get the fish, any of these fish right now. They need to be in high level areas. Oh wait, I can actually get these down here. See them. And then there's just the gathering things for mining and herbal botany as well. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do too much with this for the time being though, since I'm pretty sure I need like high level areas in order to get access to that stuff. And I'm also pretty sure that I am gonna need like some of the gear that you craft or buy in order to actually be able to gather some of those things at a high enough level. Let's see, fieldcraft items. I need regional folklore traders token. See, 16 of those for each of these. And I'm gonna assume I need purple scripts in order to get that. That should be under here, I think. Oh, that is white scripts I need. Okay. So that means I need 1,600 for each of those. If I'm not mistaken. It's either sand, baits. That's stuff that I hopefully then not too long can start actually messing around with. And by that I basically mean that I hope that I can access, or that I keep access to like Razathan, or at least it doesn't take an extreme amount of time before we get access to it.
Ah yes, I know about this portal. It leads to a nearby isle. The treasure vault of one of Razathan's wealthiest families. They took the god of luck for their guardian, on account of which they occasionally open up a section of their vaults for aspiring treasure hunters to try their own luck, or so they say. There are also coffers hidden across the land that act as portals. Find one, and you gain access to the vault.
That's basically stuff from
Something to bear
maps.
in mind in case you exhaust your funds while on the road. 'Tis a troublesome experience, as I can personally attest.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically related to treasure maps. Also, I just noticed I have a lot of material that I can extract. Is it maxed out everything in that dungeon? Also, I'm about to hit level 89. Or not 89, level 90. I'm missing less than 800,000.
Heading to Meghatuta, are you? In that case, please follow this hallway to my right and go through the door at the top of the stairs. You'll emerge at the entrance to the airship landing, where another sentry should be on hand to assist you. Incidentally, if you ascend the steps to either side of me, you'll find the workshops of Ruvita Fibers. Though you're free to observe the artisans, take care not to lose your way.
Spot where we can talk with Zane.
Ah, Thavnarian weave. Hard to imagine more vibrant stuff. I dare say Americ would be partial to the gold thread. And the blue, of course. He loves his blue. I've never put much thought into what I wear. A spare set of clothing is usually all I carry, and if that isn't enough, I can always obtain something locally. If you are here for an airship, I'm afraid all flights have been suspended until further notice. So the state of alert is still in effect. Perhaps it's for the best. That aside, we're not here for an airship, we have business at Meghatuta. Oh, in that case, permit me to direct you. From here it's quite simple, really. Ascend these steps, and then continue straight ahead and across the bridge. You cannot miss it.
Okay. Just so you know, if I end up being quiet for long periods of time, it's because I'm currently eating some, just chewing on some of the ice that I have in my water bottle. And it kind of ends up being a bit noisy. So I just kind of like muting my microphone. Okay, let's see here. Food. I ate dinner earlier.
Ah, I remember passing by here with Varzhan. The situation being as it was, he regretted not being able to show us the sights. Life has yet to return to normal here, but when it does, you ought to pay another visit. Though the city is confusing, the food is quite good. I'm partial to hamsa myself, the meat surprisingly tender and flavorful. Squayaok. Squayaok.
Okay, let's get this Aether shard and then head over to where we need to go. And I guess also get that one while we're there. Seems like a very large city with a lot of areas that seems to be kind of just empty. Like this area is pretty damn empty and there's seems to be really anything there. It seems like the only stuff that's of any sort of major interest is like right down here. That's like the only area that's really useful to anyone for now.
Greetings and welcome to Meghatuta. May I inquire after your business?
We are members of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, come at the invitation of His Excellency.
Ah, of course. We have been expecting you. I will show you into the audience chamber, if you would please follow me.
Are we the last to arrive? I hope we've not kept you waiting.
Not at all. Your comrade is feeling better, I trust.
Much better, thank you. Harness remedies are certainly potent, in more ways than one.
One becomes accustomed to the taste, although I hope you never have cause to do so. Pray, take your ease.
Full glad I am to see you all unharmed.
Valiant scions, for your heroism, you have my boundless gratitude. You cast down that dire tower and set free its hapless captives. You cleanse their souls of its corrupting influence. No words of thanks will suffice. In place of platitudes, I offer a bounty of warding scales. Pray accept your due reward, along with the goodwill of Radzatan.
Alchemists throughout the land were put to work in the forging of your talismans. The finished ones have been collected, and now await you at the High Crucible of Alchemia. Present this letter when you are ready to take them into your possession.
We are humbled by your generosity. Know that the inventive wisdom of Radzat will be vital in restoring serenity to our star.
Every single one of those scales came from you, didn't they? You must still be in such pain.
"'Tis of no moment. A mere annoyance compared to the dreadful suffering inflicted upon this land and its people.
Albeit brief, my involvement in the Dragonsong War afforded me a glimpse of the myriad sorrows which consumed both dragon and man. Though you were half a world away, such tragedies as befell your kin must have affected you deeply. And yet, you chose to live among men.
In the age when that conflict first bloomed, my choice had already been made. In some distant place, man slew dragon, and dragon slaughtered man. Yet no hate could I muster for those smiling faces which did look to me for guidance. Not even my brother's righteous rage could rally me to his cause. I huddled here, secret and still, hoping against hope that which I had built would remain untouched by the chaos and carnage.
Twould seem we share the same desire for peace, great Vritra. To that end, I wonder if we might trouble you with another question. The Telophoroi are intent on recreating the final days, an apocalyptic event which we know to predate the sundering of the star. As the longest lived among us, know you aught of this terrible cataclysm?
Nay. When war and strife drove my sire from his home, he crossed the great expanse with only our unhatched eggs as company. He alighted upon a shattered source, its 13 reflections long since scattered beyond the rift. Of events preceding his arrival, he knoweth naught, save that which Hydralin hath deigned to disclose.
I see. So again, 'tis the inscrutable Hydaelyn to whom you must look for answers.
Seek you to divine the will of this star? If so, I have a tale which may afford you some small comfort. Tis a story from my youth, many, many years ago. To my sire, I once posed the question, of all the stars in the sky, why didst thou settle upon this one? To which Midgardsormr did reply, 'twas the last bastion of hope. He believed so long as Hydaelyn endured, so too might dragonkind. Solemn and portentous were his words. What deeper meaning they held, I could not, dared not pursue. 'Tis a stone I've left unturned ever since. Yet take you solace in the knowledge that whatsoever Hydralyn does strive towards, 'tis an ideal which hath earned my sire's conviction.
Thank you, Vritra. You've given us warm reassurance in a world gripped by cold uncertainty.
While I'm sure we all have a great many questions, I think it's time we collect the talismans and be on our way. Our fight against the Telophoroi is far from finished.
We must take our leave, but please do inform us if we can provide any further assistance.
Prithee, a moment.
Okay.
There is one whom my sire hath judged worthy of honor and respect. The one known to men as Eorzea's champion. This hero of renown and rumor. 'tis thee.
Midgardsormr and I have crossed paths, yes. I only wish he could be here with us now. Let's go with that one.
I know of his clash with Omega, and the long slumber which was his price. Yet even closed in sleep, my father's eyes are far from blind. He is watching over thee, watching over this world. 'Twas a revelation most pleasing that thou, a child of man, had gained Midgardsormr's trust. But alongside mine elation runneth a rivulet of dread. For upon thy life's reel wind too many threads of fate, power, weal enmeshed with woe. Amidst this tangled knot thou shalt know no rest. 'Tis an endless confluence of forces, a struggle without surcease. More terrible still is the attrition wrought upon thy companions, as they are swept up in the storm of thine existence.
Also, XIV was the last one that was shown.
Take heart and protect them well. They will be your strength and your salvation. The hope thou wilt need come the end. Even cowering behind my curtain, I know the suffering of the powerful. I have watched my siblings driven mad by loss. Thus do I exhort thee to spare no effort to keep thy loved ones safe.
Apologies. We hadn't meant to interrupt.
It's just that we do have a history of suddenly collapsing, and when you didn't follow us out...
"'Tis I who must apologize. I have detained your champion overlong with idle chatter. Go. At war's end, I pray I welcome thee back into my hall, where together with thy joyful comrades, you may toast your triumph."
It's technically the Yulmore of Endwalker. True. It's basically like the crafting town, I guess you can call it. It's like where you like turn in crafting stuff and gathering.
So, what were you and Vitra talking about? Nothing? Very well, if you say so. The others have gone ahead to the High Crucible. Let's catch up to them.
I do believe that once I actually complete this quest, I'll reach level 90 on Summoner.
The attendant was kind enough to give me directions to the High Crucible. First, let us return to the mulberry orchard.
just crafting, but also a hub for the high level gear. Yeah, it's kind of like the same as. Kind of serves the same purpose as what is it, like Isleshire, Ralgus Reach, Gilmore, stuff like that. Basically, just kind of like. Essentially, while the other place is kind of like a main city, this is more like where a lot of content can, like a lot of stuff you get from content can basically be used. I guess you can say it as, or see it as. So, where do we go? Okay, down there. Color of Joy. Why is it called that, I wonder?
From here, we're supposed to follow the path left and past the mulberries.
Don't remember, do I actually have? Don't have that at a highlight level.
Where the street turns, enter the door straight ahead, then descend the steps. I thought the Crystarium was confusing, but it doesn't compare to Rats at Han. The architecture and decorations make it even harder to get your bearings. Anyway, let's see where this door takes us.
Rats at Han is not going to be that difficult to actually navigate, since most of the time I'm guessing I just need to be like down in this area if I go anywhere. It's not difficult to really navigate. So I just go to the Aetherite, run up here if I need to go to any of the vendors or repair, teleport up to the hut board, or something else. Bayrites Bayhane. How you pronounce that?
And here is the Aetherite Plaza. So far so good, and there isn't much further to go.
Quests, true, there is that.
From here, we just need to cross to the other side of the hall, then pass through the larger of two doorways. The High Crucible lies beyond. I suspect the others have already collected the warding scales. Come, let us join them.
Honestly, didn't really think about the quest that are probably located here, but I think a lot of them are probably just gonna be like normal yellow quests, I would assume.
We're last, of course, but at least we found the place.
These are the talismans we were promised.
Yes, and I made a quick count. There are far more than we could have hoped for. Enough to outfit an entire company of soldiers, in fact. Considering the involved process, that they were able to manufacture so many in such a short span of time is nothing short of a miracle.
Once we have distributed them to our allies in Eorzea and the Far East, we'll have a fighting chance to bring down the other spires, just as we did with the Tower of Zot.
Or we could use them to invade Garlemald proper, and strike directly at the Telophoroid's base of operations. Of course, we would need to consult with various Alliance leaders before such a drastic measure could even be contemplated. To which end, I could set out forthwith and present the idea to each of our allies in person.
Let's Sutton go.
Pray allow me to undertake some few of those journeys. I find myself restless and in need of purposeful duties.
I can head eastward. Bosnia and Dalmasca are just a short hop from here. And Doma's shinobi network should come in handy for passing on the word.
We shall share the burden then. Meanwhile, I think it best that you and the others take the talismans back to the Baldessian Annex. We must keep them safe and secure until we've decided upon a course of action.
Please, I must speak with you.
Nidana, you're awake.
Yes. When I spoke with the carer at my bedside, she told me that one of the scions, a young woman, had cleansed me of the tower's corruption. It seems I'd been asleep ever since the treatment. But when I awoke and learned you were all still here, I knew I had to come.
As you said, Nidana was captured only recently. Such a brief exposure is swiftly cured, so I tended to her before we gathered at Megaduta.
And I am truly grateful that you did. I cannot thank you enough. All of you, for everything you've done. Destroying the tower, rescuing our people. You've saved Thavnair from an awful fate.
Yet who hath truly saved whom? Due in no small part to thine inspirational courage, the alchemists were successful in reproducing warding scales of proven efficacy. Replications of thy work now stand ready to travel across the seas, unto the hands of those who might wield them against this rising evil.
The talisman? Is this true? Oh, I was so groggy from sleep. I didn't even think to ask. Oh, our great work sent across the seas. It was worth it. Oh, it was all worth it.
What? Oh, the flower.
Look at that. Its color is completely changed.
Color
What do you
of
have
joy.
there?
Color of joy. That's why the quest said.
How unusual.
That.
I wonder if the effect is a reaction to Akasha.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that term.
Akasha? It is one of the unseen energies defined by Harnish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feelings.
You imply that it is distinct from ether?
Foreign scholars often conflate the two, but we see them as separate concepts. Ether is an energy which permeates the land. It exists within animals, objects, even the air we breathe, affecting all through which it flows. Akasha, on the other hand, exists in a domain beyond our reach. A gift bestowed from on high, or torn from the heavens in some traditions. Akasha can neither be created nor destroyed. It is beyond our power to purposefully alter or manipulate. The only thing observed to influence it is an abundance of, I want to say, spiritual emotion. As a veteran of the battlefield, surely you've experienced moments of desperation or exaltation when you've transcended the usual limits of your capabilities. That is a manifestation of Akasha, the invisible essence harnessed by heart, mind, and unyielding spirit.
So, I'm guessing.
I really must hear more about this theory. Our disciplines are based entirely upon the idea that ether is the fundamental form of all energy.
I'm glad my haphazard explanation has piqued your interest. But even for us, Akasha is a somewhat abstract field of study. A lack of practical application lends itself poorly to formalized research. Which is why my analysis of your flower can amount to little more than idle speculation. I am sorry.
Nonsense! You have nothing to be sorry for. Your insight is much appreciated.
Shall we depart for Charlian, then? I will see to it that the talismans arrive at the Annex.
And we will be in touch once our talks are concluded. I suggest you rest while you can. From here onward, sleep is bound to be in short supply.
Okay. We'll crown the Valdesian Annex then. First.
The last thing I remember before being absorbed into the tower was you rushing towards me. I can only imagine the hardships you and yours must have had to overcome to rescue us. No amount of words will suffice to express my gratitude, but I hope the flower's radiant glow says everything I cannot.
Okay. I'm starting to feel like I could probably have run over here faster than the teleport went.
It's good to be back, and with the fruit of our labors safely in storage. For now, we have but to wait for the others to return from their respective meetings with the Alliance leaders. As Thancred suggested, you should get some rest in the meantime.
Welcome back, Shauna. Kryl has apprised me of your recent accomplishments. What an amazing feat to eliminate a tower, and pave the way to deal with the rest.
Curious, are we gonna get like cutscenes like with Artbird?
While it isn't much, I've changed your sheets and plumped up your pillow. After all, there's nothing like collapsing in a nice clean bed after completing a major milestone, be it penning a thesis or defeating deiform entities. So, would you like to take a look at your new and improved lodgings now?
Sure. And change back to the gray color.
Take heart and protect them well.
Oh.
Good.
You're here. You
You haven't eaten yet, have you? We've bought quite a spread if you're interested. Only the finest dining from the last stand.
We're having dinner with them? Nice. He gets his burger. With her hood down, yep.
Lest you wonder, we invited Estinian as well.
But I'm guessing he declined.
But he refused with a rather grim-faced, "No, thank you." I suspect Charlian cuisine is not to his liking.
Oh, I don't know about that. Perhaps our lone wolf just needed some time apart.
What? To perfect his brooding stare? Next time, I'll drag him out by the ear, sit him down in front of a Charlian feast, and see that he eats every last bite.
Especially the bread.
An excellent idea. Of all people, warriors must take proper meals and rest if they are to maintain a healthy constitution.
Poor Estinian, beset on all sides.
Yeah, Grad just keeps on eating the burger.
Speaking of one's physical condition, Mistress Kryl, I hear you recently played literal host to Heidelin herself.
And what an experience that was. Tiring, yes, but no lasting harm done. If anything, I should have liked to speak with her longer. I've not felt a hint of her presence since.
Heidelin instructed you to carry that flower, yes? Twill be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And then something about seeking joy in darkness, was it? Come to think of it, isn't that what happened with Nidana back in Radzat-Han?
The flower did seem to radiate a joyful glow, as if reflecting the elation we all felt. The relief of a people with renewed hope.
It's like Alphino and Kral wanted pizza instead of burgers.
And in turn, I felt buoyed by that radiance. 'Twas akin to spotting a beacon and knowing we were on the right path. I know we've not yet triumphed over the Telophoroi, or learned the full breadth of the Forum's plans. But even within the midst of our struggles, we find small moments of joy to sustain us. Rare and hard-won perhaps, but it is this pursuit of happiness that gives us the strength to carry on day after day.
I want pizza.
Hey, that's mine.
To the swift the spoils. Though I recall that levitation spell of yours was quick enough.
Only barely. And even at my best, I'm still too slow to wield it effectively in battle. Mayhap I simply require more practice with this new magic.
You unearthed it from the depths of Numenon, I presume?
Aye, and from a veritable mountain of arcane tomes at that. 'Twas necessary to facilitate my solitary explorations.
Or, to put it simply, you used it to sneak around the forbidden archives.
Yes, well, after a fashion. They're tall, you see. The shelves, they're too tall for me. And I could hardly move the library's platforms without attracting attention now, could I?
Oh.
Still a pickle left on the brass plate. Like a muffin, a cookie, and a donut, and I think maybe one more item. By pushing on until dawn? Shall we call it a night? You do know these are my quarters. Pushing on until dawn.
I'm not that ambitious. But 'tis pleasant to idle away the hours every once in a while.
Grass reactions to the pickle on this plate. It's green. I get the feeling we're gonna see a lot of that flower, to be honest. And Xenos. And Fandaniel, I'm guessing.
Ah! Enjoying the bracing cold, I see. Do you not own a warm coat or a cloak? Something in fur? Or fashioned from the skins of your enemies? Or... well, never mind that. I come to you once more as the bearer of bad news. Our tower in Thavnir has been toppled, and I need not tell you by whom. Given how many we have at our disposal, the loss of a single spire is hardly fatal to our plans. It does, however, slow the rate at which we siphon ether. If they continue to preoccupy themselves with the towers, then all will be well. But should our foe prove bold enough to strike at us here, then the timing becomes questionable.
Our foe is bold enough. Of that, I can assure you.
Yes, very well then. I suppose I must prepare a proper welcome. Honestly, talk of your nemesis is the only thing you seem to enjoy. Does nothing else spark your interest?
No. All else is... equal. Equally tedious. Equally disappointing. The world is a tepid bog into which we sink, too weak to thrash as the mud clings to our eyes and fills our throats till we blissfully choke. But then came the light, blinding and pure and hot, so very hot, enough to set my soul aflame. I basked in the afterglow until the void yawned once more, and then I knew the muck would never claim me again. There was naught for me ahead, so I drew the curtain on all that had come before. Burn. Burn. Let the whole star burn. I will have my contest. I will reclaim my moment.
How wonderful that the emptiness of death has not dissuaded you from committing your life to its pursuit once more. I don't know whether to envy you or pity you.
And Daniel's voice has changed a bit since we last heard.
You question my disinterest, but what of yours? Despite your noisome antics, I sense you take little pleasure in this endeavor.
Mercy, my lord. Such pointed barbs from one who barely acknowledges my existence. Nevertheless, you are mistaken. For I do find this part somewhat enjoyable. You see, when I was mortal, I would always have the same dream. It was a fragmented thing, disjointed, all the faces incomplete. The setting, too, was unknown to me, so I thought it simply a fantasy of my sleeping mind. Until one day, I realized it was showing me the truth. Much as your dream of the final days enlightened you. And soon, very soon, the rest of the world will see the truth of my dream, too. Yes, I think that is something we can both enjoy.
Yep. Level 90. Nice. And we also got On Wings of Hope. So we got the Magus, his sister. I think that's how you pronounce it. Well, that means I need to start switching over to a different class. Let's see, that means I got... actually curious about something. What's this one? Ah, that's Arcanist that goes with. It doesn't count what do we call it? Scholar and Summoner separately. Is it my first level 90? Nope, that was Ninja. That was my first level 90. Another thing is just, I don't think I have... Well, I have one class that can technically do the next quest, I think. And that is Paladin, but I don't really think I want to pay a Paladin necessarily. I'm kind of thinking that I've basically been thinking that I want to play Reaper for the rest of the MSQ. The problem is just Reaper's only level 80 and wait, I can't. But I was expecting not to be able to accept this since it's level 82, and I was kind of expecting it to be like, hey, it needs to be level 82 in order to accept it. Apparently I can't accept it? What? What? You know what the level range demand is? Just confused by this, what? Okay, let me just quickly try and like... let's see, a sound... Oh... schools in Final Fantasy 14. I'm just gonna quickly try and search up here. It just says level 82 on the site. Might not be able to finish the Reaper. That's true. That might be the case. Once we can do some duty roulette. True. It's just that I would need to still get like to level 82 then. I'm kind of thinking I can at the very least accept the quest and try and see if I can finish it. Perhaps. It's just weird that, like, I feel like it would be weird if I could accept it, but not complete it as the current class. So that just seems a bit strange, because I'm guessing that if I went... Oh, I can still accept it as Black Mage. Okay, so I guess it's just accessible. No matter what level I am, I just need to be the right level in order to turn it in. It could still continue as Paladin, at least for this stream, and then I just need to like make sure that I get Reaper up to level 82 by Wednesday, basically. Which I should be able to do, because I basically have... Let's see... maybe around like 3 main story roulettes that I can do, or main scenario roulettes that I can do. Just like a level and a half. And then tomorrow I'm also going to be getting the Wondrous Tales, which I can maybe finish tomorrow, or at the very least throughout Wednesday. Which would also give me like half a level-ish. Reaper is like halfway through level 80, so I should probably be able to do it. But try finishing with Reaper first. So yeah, I'm basically thinking that, and then if I can't turn it in, then I'll just switch over to Paladin and turn it in. Sound the bell, school's in.
Oh, there you are. Feeling refreshed, I hope? I was about to make my way to the studium, as it happens. I wanted to try and speak with Scholarch Montacane and thank him for coming to our rescue in the Rostra. As it turns out, he'd come here to see us following the hearing, only to find that we'd already departed for Thavnair. Knowing him, he was probably hoping to chew the cud with his former students. Since we're still waiting for Y'shtola and the others, I thought now the perfect time to pay him a visit. Care to join me? Then it's settled. The twins will be coming too, assuming Alphino can tear himself away from his new toys. I'll let you rally the troops while I go on ahead to Phenomenon.
Considering my recent impropriety, perhaps I should avoid showing my face around the studium for a time.
That might be for the best. If the others should return, tell them we will not be long.
Also a good deal of XP gained from exploring. You could find me through all of Thavnair. True. Although I am curious about... Oh. I think that I know what that quest down there is. Is that what I think it is? Is that the sightseeing log that I can unlock? Because that is also, from what I remember, a decent amount of XP you can get from that. Okay, it says we're actually in that town. I guess I can quickly show the glamour that I used yesterday. This was basically my I'm forgetting what it's called now. Slumber party glamour that I made. The event that I was at yesterday. The hat and the shoes cost me around like 600,000 in order to craft those. because I need some specific materials for that you can usually only get from what's that called again? That is treasure hunts. So yeah, let's buy that, and I needed basically one of each. And what ended up being cheaper to just buy the materials and crafting it than buying the slippers and the hat.
Beg pardon, good madam. I could scarce help but notice that sightseeing log on your person. You wouldn't happen to be the adventurer my niece wrote about, would you?
There is actually a location you don't have the boosted mount speed for. I'm guessing you haven't done enough fates there to buy the map yet.
Aha. So it is you. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I am Babeth Ironheart, Milith's aunt and seasoned explorer.
Though to be honest, it doesn't affect like flying speed. As far as I understand, it's only like grounded mount speed.
Be a dear and hand me that log of yours. Milith told me all about how she helped you embark on explorations of your own, so it's only right that I share with you some wisdom of my own. Let me see here. Oh, I can't forget to mention that. And done. You should be all set, dear. I've jotted down everything I've heard about the most remarkable vistas the realm has to offer. Of course, a few notes I've shared are not more than rumors, some describing locales so fantastical that I can barely believe they exist. But as I always say, the true joy of exploration lies not in the destination, but in the journey. So go forth, dear, and see what sort of journey these hints take you on. That sightseeing log of yours won't fill itself, you know.
Seem like 3 or 2.
Endwalker entries have been added. You must be level 80 or above to record Endwalker vistas. Travel to the location, use your wits and the notes provided by Babeth to identify these stunning sights.
Yeah, all the info. So that is sightseeing logs. Now we have access to this one. And if I remember correctly, these also give a good amount of XP if I can actually find those. Is this just where there are any of those? I can just try and be like on the lookout for them. Oh, speaking of which, there's one right over there. I do believe they give like a good chunk of XP. Let's see. Yep. 84,000. It's not a ton, but it's still an okay amount, I guess. And exactly how many are there in Old Shadian? 1, 2. There are 7 in this area. I would not be surprised if there's one over here. Unless... actually, maybe nuts after all. Guess I can get up top. Actually see if they have any sort of hints. Nope. Honestly, Realmborn ones were a lot more helpful since they actually gave descriptions of where you need to be and at what time and everything. Alphino's
Heading
training.
out for a stroll? The Scholarch himself was here? In that case, what are we waiting for?
I too am eager to see him, though I somewhat dread the thought of visiting the studium. I dare say our notoriety precedes us.
Alphino of all people worrying over his reputation. And at our alma mater, no less. Will wonders never cease? You'll understand soon enough. Off we go.
Okay. If there's any sightseeing points over this way. See any way of getting up on those buildings, so I doubt they are up there. I feel like there's probably one in this area somewhere. Surprised that there weren't, at least. Inside the studio? Could be.
Here it is, phenomenon. While I expect you made note of it before, one can hardly miss it. This is the first time you've been here on official business, correct? While most of the space is taken up by the expansive auditoriums, it also houses numerous laboratories, testing grounds for experimental magics, and a host of administrative offices and so forth.
As the center of what would later become the studium, it was established to promote the study of ethereological phenomena, hence the name. Though with ether being a fundamental aspect of nature, its scope expanded to include every conceivable facet of life and even the universe itself. And then, in the 432nd year of the 6th astral era, phenomenon was decreed complete and the studium officially opened as a place of learning. With a long and storied history, it is without question the world's leading authority in etherology, the arcane, the occult, astromancy, and countless other fields, standing proud as Charlesian's foremost educational institute.
You always did enjoy giving the grand tour to new students.
Alphino, you fucking nerd.
Indeed, I've long since lost track of how many times he has recited that same foppish speech. Such is his undying love for his old stamping ground. He was in top form back then. Youngest to enter the studium, graduated with highest honors in magical arts and etherology, undisputed champion of the debating chamber. Hold on. You both joined the studium at the same age, yes? And from where I stand, you're equally prodigious scholars. Nice of you to say, but Alphino actually entered half a year before me. Nor did I do well enough to graduate with honors. And I am certainly not the studium's most notorious master debater. In all respects have I ever been in his shadow. If nothing else, just remember that this was where the legend of Alphino Leveler began. We should expect everyone to be fully aware of our recent escapades. Hopefully, we'll be somewhat more welcome here than we were at the last stand. I know better than anyone the adoration the student body has for Alphino, and with a bit of luck, it might work to our advantage. Well, there's no time like the present. First things first, let's look for Scholarch Montacane. Other faculty tend to frequent their offices, but unfortunately for us, he's fond of wandering wheresoever his whims take him. Let's split up and ask the students if they've seen him.
Okay. Also, I am really thinking of changing up a little bit with my climber, because I kind of want to be able to see my eyes. I couldn't with the 2B thing on my face. We have an excitable student. Oh. Script exchanges here. Ah. Look at that, and they have arcane loaf for sale. And several of these potions. Such nice. Let's see.
Things were bad enough during our school days, and Alphino's time abroad has only heightened his fame. Or should that be infamy? He had his rivals and detractors, of course. Though most of them gave that up after his adoring fans set upon them like ravenous dogs. Alphino, on the other hand, never paid them much notice. They were simply beneath him.
Alphino.
I assure you, I'll tell you all about it after my business with the Skull Arch has concluded. The Skull Arch? Tell me, my good fellow, does this have something to do with saving the world from catastrophe? Might we turn our attention to Master Leveler's graduation thesis? I, too, have my doubts regarding our policy of non-intervention. Is it true that your experiences overseas are the reason you have incurred the ire of the Forum? Oh, what I wouldn't give to see you butt heads with those old codgers.
Alphino is certainly popular.
That was Alphino Leveler, wasn't it? The Alphino Leveler. And he's with his sister and Master Bald S. Ian's granddaughter. This can only mean one thing, an event of epoch-shattering proportions is fast approaching. Spread the word. Oh, sorry, you said you're looking for the Skull Arch, yes. Knowing him, he could be anywhere, but Miss Aleopo should have a better idea.
Aleopo? Huh? Oh, hold on. You wouldn't happen to know a slowly Aleopo, would you? Happen to know those two, would you?
Are you lost? Wandering off the street, perhaps? Wait, don't tell me. You're a trainee gleaner fresh off the guild ship. I'm right, aren't I? Oh, how silly of me, an orientation is in order. Ahem. Allow me to bid you a warm welcome to Searcher's Meet. Let me start with a question, what is the most important thing you'll find in the studium? That's right, books. And what's the second most important? Why, that's simple. Everything else. That's what we deal in here at Searcher's Meet. Whenever the students or tutors find themselves in need of equipment or materials, they come to us. If we don't have it in our stores, we send the gleaners off to find it. Honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the requests we get. Eye of Pesa this, tongue of Giganto add that, it's enough to make your hair stand on end. Which is possibly what some of our students are trying to accomplish, this being a school of magic and all. As our newest gleaner, you'll have your work cut out for you, but I think you'll find it quite rewarding.
I'm not a gleaner. The only thing I'm gleaning, I'm interested in gleaning is information on the Skull Arch's whereabouts. Track down the many miscellaneous knickknacks in my time, but I'm no gleaner. Let's go with that one.
So what you're telling me is, you're not a gleaner. Yes, that's exactly what you said, isn't it? And you're looking for a Skull Arch? I'm afraid we don't have any of those in stock, but I can. Oh, you mean him. He was here, but now he's not. I did speak with him shortly before you arrived, though. He said he was on his way to Maker's Meet. Go back the way you came in, and you'll see it on the opposite side of the entrance. It's a laboratory of sorts, home to many rare and expensive curios, not to mention alarmingly frequent accidents. If you lose your way, just follow the blood-curdling screams. Ha! In the time it's taken me to tell you all of this, the Skull Arch has probably already left. Best of luck finding him, I've a feeling you'll need it.
Gotta know, are you related to Loinsloy Eliapo?
Finding a worthy gleaner is proving tougher than I thought. Maybe I'm not suited to this line of work.
They have the last name? Doesn't necessarily mean that they are related, but still? Could potentially be the case. So this is the laboratories? It looks more like a forge and a woodcutting area, I'd say.
Yes, the Skull Arch was here a short while ago. He offered me advice on my current research project. Though we spoke at length, I don't recall him mentioning where he was planning to go next. When we parted ways, he went down the corridor. Perhaps to one of the auditoriums.
Okay. Thanks. And yep, can't complete it. Needs to be level 82. That looks like a voice actor.
Ah, I remember you.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words in the forum.
Well, I could hardly let that Inquisition go unchallenged. I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the Annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisoix in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you. I still can't believe how much you've grown. If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the Forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye. You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student.
Yeah.
Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy. Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic. As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment. which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
How is that even possible?
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat.
That was cool, I guess. We're sitting down. I have to get schooled, yep.
We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology. The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into 3 forms. 2 are of the incorporeal sort, the soul, and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third?
Soul, memory. I think I just mentioned corporeal ether, but I'm assuming magic is probably not it. Corporeal ether? I feel like I just mentioned though. Is corporeal ether?
Yes, very good.
It was remembering correctly.
This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities, and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked.
Yeah, some experience with that.
Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it. Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The 7th Umbral Calamity. The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm. But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation. Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace?
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose. But there are those memories that are indelibly etched upon our souls, some believe.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable. Well, I think that's enough education for today. Now that I've given you some food for thought, or rather, an entire banquet.
I was like, I like this guy.
I
Seems
would
like a good
remind
guy.
you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you. I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the students of Baldessian, this privilege is extended to you as well, my friend. Oh, and I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge. I wish you all the best in your pursuits, wheresoever they may take you.
I would kind of consider him as like a friendly grandpa of sorts. Because at least that kind of feel I'm getting from him.
You have been granted the run of Phenomenon. If you are game, Kialiapo would put your artisanry to good use.
Is that what I think it's gonna be? Is that kind of how is that gonna unlock basically the same thing as is available in the Crystarium? Like questline stuff? The questing stuff? Faculty.
It's you. You're the one the Skull Arch was telling us about. Shauna, yes?
Friendly neighborhood grandfather, yep.
Brilliant. Just the woman I was hoping to see. As I'm sure you are aware, the Studium is the most prestigious educational institution in all of Sharlayan. As such, we make a point of only working with the best educators and students. The gleaners we employ are also held to the same high standards, of course. Which is perhaps why it has been so difficult to find the assistance we need of late. Surely you understand the trouble of finding competent and capable help? Ahem. That you are come here suggests you are willing to lend a hand, no? I'm certain you would have much to gain from working with us if so. Do let me know should you commit to lending your services to the Studium. I should warn you, however, there is much I must explain ere you begin. So please be certain you have sufficient time to spare. Now, allow me to explain our work here. Professors and students from our many faculties gather in Searchers' Meet in order to do business with and recruit reputable individuals such as yourself. Allow me to briefly introduce those here at present. Here we have Boric from the Faculty of Archaeology. He works as an assistant to one Professor Rurusha and is currently seeking a skilled metal worker to help restore an ancient relic.
I'm assuming blacksmithing, armorsmithing, and goldsmithing.
Then there's Jude, who belongs to the Faculty of Astronomy. He seems to be looking for an artisan able to work with leather, cloth, or wood, but he wouldn't tell me much more than that. He's awfully shy, you see.
Woodworker, weaver, and leatherworker.
Next we have De Broglie, a student studying in the Faculty of Medicine. I'm fairly sure she's carrying out research under the supervision of Professor Galvaroche. In any case, I hear she's after someone who knows a thing or two about medicine and nutrition.
Alchemy and culinarian.
And here's Hinachi of the Faculty of Anthropology. She told me she's searching for botanists and miners at present. By the sounds of it, she and Professor Tenkin are dealing with a formidable task.
There's the miner, and then there's probably Fisher, I'm guessing, as well.
Last but not least, this is Professor Tilakatia, an associate professor in the Faculty of Etherology. I heard he's in need of a fisher to help him conduct research for his thesis. Unfortunately, things do not seem to be progressing well for him at the moment. I'd say those 5 are the ones most in need of supplementary aid.
It's basically the same as in Crystarium.
I'll leave it to your discretion as to who you choose to help. Although, be forewarned, academics can be something of an odd bunch. Just be sure not to leave anyone in the lurch after you've agreed to help them.
I don't fully know how that
You may now
whole system
undertake
works.
deliveries at the studium. Speak to those belonging to the institution.
Yeah, speak with them, and you probably have all quests now. Yep. Guessing I might as well just unlock them. Awful.
Greetings, madam. I am De Broglie, a student of the nutritional sciences from Professor Galvaroche's research laboratory. Pray excuse me. At your service. If I'm not mistaken, you're the culinarian who has come to us by way of Kialiapo's introduction, yes? Wonderful. I would very much like to request your help with a certain. Oh my. Forgive me, my stomach is not entirely at its best. Professor Galvaroche bid me try a sample of a newly created comestible, you see. The taste was, well, and the texture. Oh dear. Perhaps you should just experience it firsthand. One mouthful is worth 1,000 words, and all that. Pray join me over at Maker's Meet, and I can initiate you in the wonders of experimental foodstuffs.
Basically just thinking, accept all the quests. He needed a... Gonna get a lot of chili crap from this.
Dear, oh dear. If only he were here to help. Eep. Goodness me. You gave me quite the scare. Do I know you? Ahem. I must apologize. As you've likely already gathered, I am rather easily startled.
It's Artemis. I heard you have work for me.
Ah, yes. You see, I, Jude, belong to the Faculty of Astronomy and am enlisted in the Classical Astronomers Association. Despite the name, I am the sole member. Until this last year we were far more in number, but the other students graduated just as I joined. Why remain a part of an association that, but for my efforts, is obsolete, you might ask? The reason is quite simple. I thought it would allow me free access to their telescope. Recently, however, the Faculty of Astronomy and all its constituents, the Classical Astronomers Association included, have been urged by the Forum to contribute to a national project. As a result, I am unable to use the telescope at my own discretion. If only my problems ended there. After I had taken over the association's activities, I came to learn the telescope was not only old but in a state of total disrepair. I have, of course, since attempted to have it repaired, but no craftsman is willing to accept my request. Impatience has led me to attempt to restore it myself. All I've accomplished is making the situation worse, beyond recovery, even. My apologies. I've started to ramble. So you're a craftsman that's been sent by Kialiapo? I am terribly sorry. Despite having come all this way, there is no longer any telescope to restore.
There's no telescope that needs repairing. Why not just make one? Let's go with that one. I'm guessing that's what we're gonna do.
Indeed. The possibility had not even crossed my mind. Oh, what I wouldn't give for one of those new lenses I've heard so much about. Their precision and clarity is said to be without peer. But the funding required would be astronomical. Perhaps if we forego the latest and greatest in telescope components, the modest budget I've received from the association may suffice to make one. I best get to work, then. Numenon will no doubt have a plethora of information on the subject of crafting telescopes. While I have an acute fear of crowded places, my desire to look upon the stars is enough to see me through the task. Or so I hope. Jude rushes off. His last words still ringing in your head, you take off in the direction of Numenon after him.
Basically thinking, we'll accept all of these quests and complete them, and that'll probably be where I end the stream for today. Alright, let's see, you needed gatherers, fighting in botany. Here we get crab cakes.
Excuse me, kind madam. Pardon my forthrightness, but might I beg a moment of your time? I work under Professor Tankin, and am in search of a capable miner to assist with his research. That is your profession, is it not? In which case, I wish to discuss potential employment with the Faculty of Anthropology. Assuming, that is, you have an interest in our work? Magnificent. Searchers Meet, where we currently find ourselves, is a place where gleaners connect with the faculty and students of the studium. It allows us to acquire the necessary materials for our studies and also provides us with a place to store supplies and specimens. And with your help, I believe I may be able to procure what is needed for the professor's research. Of course, such work is predicated on the assumption Professor Tankin has decided on a focus for his next project, which sadly he has not.
Would you say he's the indecisive sort?
Oh, that is certainly one way of putting it. If he doesn't hurry and submit a research proposal to the studium soon, he will be unable to secure funding for his work. Why, his very tenure could be cut short. It would be a great loss for the studium, as he is a remarkable scholar. The very definition of calm and collected, until he discovers something that piques his interest. Then his eyes widen and his cheeks take on a rosy hue. Honestly, it's like he regresses to being a young boy. Ahem. Returning to the topic at hand, your first task will be to procure Professor Tankin himself. I imagine you'll find him somewhere in Numenon, if you would be so kind. Wonderful. And when you find him, pray offer him this slice of Archon loaf. Like as not, he's forgotten to eat as usual.
Okay.
The sheer size of the library can prove daunting at times, but I have spent enough time with the professor to know he is in there somewhere.
Okay, we're just missing the fishing and I believe metalworking classes. Scrollsmith.
Dearie me. Whatever am I to do? I dread to think how the professor would react if I returned without a... Oh. Sorry, you startled me. I don't suppose you would happen to be a craftswoman, would you? Brilliant. Please, allow me to introduce myself. I am Boric and I am under the employ of a professor at the studium. Professor Rurusha, to be precise. She works in the field of archaeology and is deeply invested in the restoration of relics. I have been tasked with finding someone capable of helping with her most recent project. Needless to say, I first asked our colleagues at the studium itself for their aid, but I was told in no uncertain terms that our called relic was mere refuse. Frankly, between the two of us, to my untrained eye it appears to be little more than a shabby ornament or child's toy. The professor, meanwhile, is convinced that it is unique and of great value. And far be it for me to question her, few archaeologists have had as much success as she. But I digress. Would you be willing to at least meet with the professor and hear more about our work?
Sure. Let me have a look at that relic. As long as I'm compensating for my time, let's just look at the relic.
So you are willing to meet her, then? Excellent. Thank you so much. She ought to be somewhere here in the studium. I don't imagine it will take too long to find her. Could it be? Yes, you must be the gleaner I've heard so much about. Let me get straight to the point.
What a gleaner?
Oh, but where are my manners? Allow me to introduce myself first. My name is T. Lakatia, and I'm an associate professor in the Faculty of Etheriology here. To tell the truth, I'm in a bit of a bind. I'm scheduled to make a major presentation at a conference in the near future, but, as ashamed as I am to admit it, I've not been able to get enough data to properly finish my thesis. If I'm unable to prove the worth of my research, then my funding is all but certain to dry up. As you can see, the stakes are high. You have the look of an adept angler about you, am I right? If so, you could be just the person I need. This section here is one I've rented out for my work. Might I interest you in taking a look? Impressive, isn't it? I bet you've never laid eyes on such a fine fish tank before. Sadly, as you can see, it's entirely devoid of fish. Anyhow, I suppose I should tell you about my work. You see, I research water veins. Not just any old ones, mind you, but those that carry ether, not unlike the life stream, or the etheric currents in the wind. Life is naturally drawn to areas abundant in ether, which is why you might observe that popular fishing spots are often also ether-rich. My research focuses in particular on veins which carry especially high concentrations of ether, currents commonly known as spectral currents. Are you perchance familiar with the phenomenon?
In fact, I am. Fishing trips. Heard of them? Can't say I am. I've seen one before. I've seen several.
Oh ho. I'd expect nothing less from a veteran gleaner. I must say, it's always nice to meet someone familiar with the subject of my life's work. In any event, the most important point to remember is just how important ether currents are for aquatic life. To look at it the other way, it is possible to identify how strong the local ether currents are by studying the fish and other aquatic life in any given area. And that's where we come full circle. I require specimens of fish from various bodies of water to confirm my hypothesis regarding underwater ether currents. And there's the rub. The areas most worth researching also happen to be the hardest to reach. Of course, I would not be averse to risking the journey myself, if only it were not for my condition.
What is that?
Ah, yes. I suppose I should explain.
Let me guess, he can't swim or something like that?
Put simply, I have long suffered from a particularly nasty case of ether sickness. Why, I can't even use the Ethernet or any sort of teleportation magics. Quite annoying when your work partially depends on such things, to say the least.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem.
I know. An etherologist who can't stomach ether. I wouldn't believe it were I not living this nightmare myself. But perhaps you are skeptical? I have an idea. Follow me to the Aetheroid Plaza, and I'll show you just how bad I've got it.
Alright, got all the quests. It's just a matter of going through them in sort of order. So, Planarian for this over here.
Thank you ever so much for coming. Let's set the table for you, shall we?
I think these quests should be relatively short.
On first inspection, it seems to be an ordinary loaf of bread, yes? Now, try a slice.
The initial flavor is like a rush of indescribable hatred, which gradually transitions into a sense of deep and abiding despair. It is quite possibly the worst thing you have ever eaten.
Doesn't it taste awful?
When it comes to the perfect meal, flavor is irrelevant.
It's pretty important, I would say.
Professor Galvaroche. I wasn't.
Why, the very concept of gourmet cuisine has led to all manner of unhealthy excess. Too much salt, too much sugar, and entirely too much fatty content is employed in the pursuit of satisfying this obsession with taste. The paneloaf we are laboring so hard to produce will contain everything necessary to sustain an adult body in one efficient, easily consumed serving. As I said, the perfect meal.
Ahem, Professor? If I might introduce.
By Thaliac, all this time wasted on idle chatter. If we are ever to attain true perfection, then every spare moment must be spent upon our research. Your task was to improve the paneloaf's digestibility, was it not? Then let us be getting on with it. Swift. Sure. Efficient.
Bit of a dick, I would say. Or he is too much focused on his work, which apparently tastes
You
like
must
absolute
excuse
shit.
the professor's brusque manner. I know he seems eccentric, but the field of nutritional science was practically built upon the foundation of that man's research. Surely you've heard of the infamous Archon loaf? It was Professor Galvaroche who proposed the recipe. In any case, I do apologize for serving you such a foul-tasting creation. But I needed you to understand the gravity of the situation. Come to the last stand, and I shall offer you something to cleanse your palate while I more fully explain the issue at hand.
Okay. This quest here. Something's new friend. That is fine, right? Nope, that is slash other build crafting. Ah, there they are.
Honestly, I've never...
You.
Why, hello there. Terribly sorry, but I'm rather busy at the moment. Can it wait until later?
Perhaps you wouldn't be quite so busy if you weren't wasting time on what is clearly little more than rubbish. You do realize there are limits to our fundings and facilities, don't you? The faculty cannot afford to waste time on projects that show little to no merit.
Honestly, I think you're overreacting, Professor. I have a very good feeling about this relic, you know.
Feeling. I was not aware we had decided to rely on feelings over common sense now. If I were you two, I'd spend my time on anything other than helping this crazed crone with her work.
Sorry about that. You must be wondering what you've walked into. It seems Professor Nemono is having a rather bad day. Wait a minute. You wouldn't happen to be an artisan, would you?
She is indeed, Professor. What's more, she's kindly agreed to hear more about our work. Which is why I brought ER.
Let's get my name right.
Come to think of it, I don't think I ever asked for your name.
Well, Shauna, thank you for coming all this way to talk to an excitable old lady. I am Rurusha, a humble professor of archaeology. You've doubtless heard from Boric that we are attempting to restore a relic of sorts. I suppose it then falls upon me to explain our situation in a little more detail. But let us first make our way to the workshop. It will be much easier to explain things to you there.
I can complete the quest in here. Nice.
The work that presently occupies my time is the restoration of this peculiar piscine-faced relic. Its design called to mind the stories of Saint Taida, which is why I have taken to calling it the Golden Taida in her honor. It was brought to us by one of our gleaners. From what I understand, the excavation whence they found it was an independent venture, and considering its otherwise lackluster appearance, those of a similar mind to Professor Nemono have been quick to write it off as rubbish. However, I believe it to be a type of mammoth.
I do not wish to sound impudent, Professor, but do you truly think that thing could be a mammoth? To my eyes it looks like an ornament designed to resemble a bird or a fish. Next you'll be saying it can take to the skies like an airship.
For all we know it might well do that. And yes, I'm quite certain the Golden Taida is a mammoth. It doesn't look much like your standard Uldayan mammoth, I'll grant you that, but its innards are no less complex. We just need to get it fixed and it's bound to start moving, I know it. What's more, I've got a special feeling about this one.
Another one of your special feelings. Wonderful.
In any case, this is where I need your help, Shauna. The relic might not seem in a bad state from its outer appearance, but its insides are a mess. There appears to be little that can be salvaged, so it will be your duty to create replica parts that match all the broken ones housed within. I would be forever grateful to you should you decide to help us. I'm just champing at the bit to find out what secrets lurk within this little, old thing. Wonderful. I knew I could count on you the moment you arrived. You've made an old woman very happy, Shauna. Now, let's get down to business. I'd like you to begin by working on its exterior. Though I see no signs of erosion, something, possibly one of the dislodged parts, has done considerable damage to its insides. But it won't do to work on the interior and its complex parts without first ensuring the shell housing them is sound. That said, I've no doubt you'll need to prepare a few things before you get to work. Let me know when you feel ready to get started.
Okay.
You may now undertake deliveries for the Faculty of Archaeology at the
Okay. What's there? I think I'm gonna save that one for later. Okay, let's see here. The next area... This will be down there, and I'm running into a wall there. There's the Numenon. Two of them. Then there's the fishing guy over there, and cooking over there. So let's see. That one, that's culture pursuits. Oh. Let's see. Are not used. That must mean yep, gathers.
What? Damn it all, I succumb to the sweet song of slumber yet again. She always strikes when I least suspect it. I don't suppose you would happen to have a morsel of food to spare on your person? I seem to have built up quite the appetite whilst dead to the world. Hinachi sent you, eh? Of course she would insist that I eat Archon loaf. At any rate, you have my thanks. I hope you do not think me rude for indulging right away. That ought to silence my stomach for a while. Truly, I am indebted to you, madam. Dozing in the midst of research is an all too common, and routinely ignored, occurrence around here. There is no telling how long I would have slept had you not come when you did. In fact, it calls to mind the tale of a researcher seeking a means to traverse the ethereal sea. He wished to do so while still amongst the living, you see, but they found him dead in the midst of a pile of books. But that is neither here nor there. I take you are come seeking employment? Your timing is quite fortuitous, as I but recently decided upon a topic for my thesis. Pray accompany me to Searchers' Meet once more, and I shall explain all to you there.
Okay, that's where we also finished the quest. Nope. Alright, so we can continue this one.
Oh. You're here to lend me a hand in searching for the necessary tomes. Thank you. Only one other person has ever extended to me such kindness. 87.96% of those I've encountered have approached me, words dripping with honey, looking only to take advantage of my purse strings. But enough about that. Somewhere among these tomes are documents detailing the intricacies of telescopes. Let us split up and search for them. Please, should you find any relevant documents, bring them to me.
And we got several books to look at. Oh, actually, it looks like it's just 3. Alright. Encyclopedia of Astronomical Telescopes. That first one we found also the observatories. Look at them while we
did you stumble across any leads?
So, a history of observatories at home that gives its reader a great deal of insight into gigantic telescopes and their history. The Encyclopedia of Astronomical Telescopes, tome that covers the various types of telescopes and how they work or how they are structured. And an astronomer's comprehensive overview of the starlets. From the speaks of the ever-elusive starlets.
To think that you've managed to find 3 whole tomes. Excellent work. Let's have a look, shall we? A history of observatories. This appears to be all about observatories and the massive telescopes they boast. While the content contained within these pages is near perfect, to create the telescope detailed here would require a budget on par with a national project. Let us now take a look at the Encyclopedia of Astronomical Telescopes. What a treasure of a tome! It outlines the entirety of how telescopes are made, down to the smallest of details. Unfortunately, we have only enough gil to cover a fraction of the cost of the parts listed here. Let us see what this last one has to offer. An astronomer's comprehensive overview of the star lens. Star lens. I've never heard of such a thing. According to this, it is an ancient tool used by astronomers to read the stars and can be produced at a reasonable cost. But what good would such an ancient tool accomplish in today's world of astronomy and optics? It doesn't even use a lens. Then again, it is within my means. Might I ask you to craft one for me? While I can only offer you the meager stipend our association receives from the studium in exchange, I hope you'd consider it. You have my sincerest of thanks. Now then, there is little time to waste. I have already requested to use the space, so let us make our way to the workshop.
I'm guessing that it's probably... Yep, he's up there. Let's see, they were... That's probably the cooking area. That is gatherers, that's fishing. That means that that must be... Wait, there was only 5 groups. That means that that's gonna be the fishing area, and that's cooking. Yes. Let's see. Yes, run down to the Aetherite. And as soon as my sprint runs out, switch over to fishing so I can actually keep the sprint buff going.
Ah, there you are. All right, watch closely now. Blank. You see? I'm feeling so queasy. It's all I can do to hold down the contents of my stomach. Irk. The whole world. It is spinning. Someone, make it stop. What is this? Irk, Irk. Forgive me.
He just vomit.
Well, there you have it. My condition has manifested itself all over the ground for you.
Yep, he did vomit.
I say, T. Leica, are you quite alright? Professor Nelle. I see your condition's as bad as ever. One would think you'd avoid a place like this. And you? Ah, are you perchance assisting T. Leica with his research? The boy may suffer from terrible ether sickness, but as a scholar, he has as much potential as anyone I've seen. You develop an eye for these things when you've been in academia for as long as I have. But I must be on my way. I very much look forward to reading your finished thesis, T. Leica. Irk. Did I mention that I don't handle pressure particularly well? I've barely written the introduction to my paper, and Professor Nelle is already selling it up to his peers. How can I possibly live up to his expectations? Incidentally, Professor Nelle is one of the leading authorities in the world of etherology. Some would even say he's the equal of Master Metoya. And for some reason, he seems to have taken a liking to me. He's the one who pushed for the school to allow me to form my own research team, as the first and trial phase of a program to support young scholars. Otherwise, a humble associate professor such as myself would never be able to conduct such an ambitious project. And yet, I run the risk of losing everything if I don't turn my potential into actual results at the upcoming conference. Not only would my own research team be disbanded, but there's a high likelihood that Professor Nelly's program would be terminated, meaning that no other young scholar would ever again receive the opportunity one did. The very future of the studium is at stake. Part of me wishes I could just drink my worries away. Sadly, I handle alcohol about as well as I handle ether. I may not be good at dealing with ether or pressure, but one thing is certain, for Professor Nelly's sake, I must not fail. I cannot. And so I beg of you. Pray help me. There is no one else to whom I can turn.
It's me.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. You are a shining beacon of hope for all young scholars here in Charlesian. Now, let us head back to Searcher's Meet so we can get to the task. I shall meet you back at my office.
Okay. Just down to the harbor and switch over to cooking or culinarian.
Pray take a seat, and I shall be with you in a moment. I hope you still have an appetite.
Oh, she works here, I guess. Lobster?
When I'm not studying, I actually work here in the kitchens. And that one there is a dish I devised myself, using all the knowledge I've acquired about food and flavor. Enjoy.
Incredible, as if my tongue has been purified by some divine nectar. This is heavenly. Go with the second one.
I'm so glad you liked it. What you do is, you take a lobster, freshly caught from the Indigo Deep, scoop out the meat and sauté with butter and olive oil. Next you steam in white wine, but you must take care not to overcook it at this point. You then need to stuff it back into the shell, sprinkle liberally with thyme, oregano, and rosemary before baking in the oven at a steady heat, not too hot, of course, and then...
Yes, thank you. I'll take your word for it. Well, whatever you did, it was delicious. Go the first one.
Ahem, my apologies. As you may have noticed, cooking is something of a passion of mine. Which brings us to my present problem, and the reason I so desperately require your assistance. It all began when agents of the Forum contacted Professor Galvaroche, seeking to draw upon his wisdom and the nutritional expertise of his research facility. Their request was simple: they wished him to invent a singular meal that could provide all the daily nutrients a person needs to survive. They expressed their intent to develop a food supply for emergencies, and thus the only condition imposed was that it be possible to prepare this miracle dish from ingredients readily available in Labyrinthos. For his part, the professor threw himself into the work with routine intensity, using Archon loaf as a base to devise a new type of bread, the most recent batch of which I inflicted upon you earlier. Archon loaf was never praised for its flavor to begin with, and it seems the more nutrients you pack into the mix, the more revolting it becomes. Some volunteers have even been known to retch up the contents of their bellies after choking down a sample. Suspecting that a difficulty with digestion was to blame, Professor Galvaroche asked that I work on making our meal easier to stomach. But the fact is, it simply tastes terrible. Can you imagine if there truly was some emergency, and we were forced to live on Panaloaf alone? People would survive, of course, but gods, would they wish they hadn't? To make matters worse, the professor sees gourmet cooking as a wasteful abomination. If the Forum adopts his recipe, there is a very real chance he might champion Panaloaf not only as a candidate for emergency supplies, but as a new, nationwide food staple. By and large, Charlians prefer meals that are easily prepared and easily consumed over more flavorful, but less time-efficient, culinary efforts. Scholars busy with their research will settle for sandwiches more often than not. And that ambivalent attitude towards food is exactly why I fear this horrible bread might actually be accepted into our everyday diets. As a Charlian myself, I never had much interest in fine dining. Then I tried a dish at the last stand, and it was as if an entirely new world had opened up before me. I soon discovered that a course in nutritional science would grant access to a vast repository of information on recipes and ingredients, so I enrolled as a student at the Studium's Faculty of Medicine. But their approach to food preparation was purely academic. Utilitarian. I reasoned that if I was to learn anything about gourmet cooking, then finding employment here would be the surest route. In fact, I was on the brink of abandoning my formal studies altogether when this request came in from the Forum. As a lover of fine foods, nay, as a person with a functional tongue, I am compelled to prevent this crime against cuisine from entering society in its current form. Fortunately, I have the opportunity to improve the Panaloaf's flavor under the guise of carrying out the professor's instructions. It will, however, be exceedingly difficult to enhance the taste without sacrificing any nutritional value, especially considering my lack of practical experience. My theory is sound, but when it comes to technical expertise. And that, my dear culinarian, is why I need you. If you do decide to help, then please, I beg you, come and see me at Maker's Meat.
Okay. Pick up there and continue with one of those and then complete the rest. Let's go ahead and finish up her quest first.
Ah, there you are. Can I assume this means you wish to aid me with my Panaloaf predicament?
Alien's larders must be saved. No one else must suffer as I have.
Then I gladly accept your assistance. Praise the scholar for bringing us this savior in our hour of need. Oh dear me, I just realized. How could I put you through all that and not ask your name? Well then, Shauna, I look forward to working with you.
More deliveries unlocked.
You may now undertake deliveries for the...
What about these quests? If they're like astronaut, I'm gonna have to like check that out. Maybe tomorrow or Wednesday and just figure out if that's quests that are really fast to complete or not. Because if they're really slow, then I might save them for another day.
According to my calculations, we should have just enough in the way of funds to craft a star lens. The question that remains, however, is if it will be powerful enough to aid me in my pursuit. If only he were here. If it isn't Jude. You're looking gloomy as ever. Eek. Who's there? Oh, it's you, Jiromir. Have you finally decided to join the Faculty of Astronomy? I know not to which Jiromir you're referring, but this one shines brighter than any of those called stars you gaze upon. You're the only Jiromir I know. You should know that, seeing as we've been friends since childhood. Jude, I'm terribly disappointed. 10 whole years have passed since we first met. I had thought you'd grow out of it eventually, yet you insist on immersing yourself in this tedious, unrewarding work. We are pupils of the studium. It is all but blasphemy to whittle away the best of your years, nose stuck between dusty old tomes. Now why don't you set aside your wayward aspirations and join me in the Faculty of Literature? We might even be able to fetch you a decent-looking bride. I've recently joined the Poetry Lovers Club. We speak on love and life whilst sipping the finest of teas. Does that not sound pleasurable to you? Jiromir. Was it not you who introduced me to the wonders of astronomy? What made you lose interest in the subject? That is neither here nor there. I'm simply worried you're wasting away here, all on your own. Just promise me you'll think on it, all right?
What's your relationship with him, towards him? Your friend? Let's go with, is that your friend?
I must apologize for not introducing you. That was Jiromir, a childhood friend of mine. Ever since I could remember, we would spend our nights together gazing up at the stars. It was a decade ago when it happened. The two of us took part in an astronomer's workshop. One night, when we were looking up at the night sky, we spotted a mysterious blue light. Concluding it was an unidentified celestial body, we immediately notified the Studium's Faculty of Astronomy. No matter how much they searched, they were unable to find the light we had seen. In the end, the Studium chalked it up to the ramblings of imaginative school children. Out of sheer frustration, we decided to join the Faculty of Astronomy, vowing to one another that we'd one day rediscover the azure body we saw that day. Jiromir, being a summer older than I, enrolled first. When I finally entered, it was as though he were a different person, all vestiges of the old Jiromir and the promise we made one another, forgotten. I joined this faculty hoping to fulfill our dream of the decade prior. Yet, ever timid and easily cowed, I do not see how I will accomplish this alone. It was Jiromir always leading the way. Without him, I am lost.
Hello, you've got me. A hold of yourself. Got me.
You are right. With your help, perhaps there is still hope. I do not know what I can do or how far I will get, but I must at least try. Thank you very much. You've done so much for me already, but I have yet to even ask your name. Shauna. I am looking forward to working with you.
Okay, then it's over, and let's complete the stuff for gatherers and
you may
for
now
fishing. Let's see.
There you are. My savior from slumber.
Professor, please. It would be most rude to waste any more of her time. Might we discuss the focus of your next research project, and what it is you require of her?
Yes, of course. Time is of the essence. Honestly, Hinashi, I do not know what I would do without you.
Well, that is most flattering, Professor. Thank you.
I mean it, Hinashi. I would be lost. Completely and utterly lost.
Professor Tankin,
Yes, and quite famished besides. So absorbed was I in my research that I had all but forgotten my need for rest and sustenance. Were it not for your kind gift, I would surely have expired by now.
Oh, I thought you meant, I mean, yes. Yes, of course. Always happy to help.
Provided our research is deemed of value to the studium, we are supplied with clothing, food, and shelter. But only the bare essentials, mind you. You need but look around to know the veracity of my words. We do as we are instructed, researching and gathering resources, but what value do these things truly have in the grand scheme of things? The study of 1,000 civilizations, and nothing here has changed. The culture of Charlian remains as stagnant as the threadbare attire we wear day in and day out.
I must confess you do have a point about our garments. Should my shirt and trousers be soiled, I would have little recourse but to wear them inside out. But to be perfectly honest, I have no real qualms with the way we live here in Charlian.
That is all well and good, Hinashi, but would you be content to let your children live in such austere conditions? Your children's children?
Children? Professor, why ever would you bring up such a thing?
It is a subject I have thought to broach for some time. After all, you shall be my sole company for the foreseeable future, and I yours, correct?
Yes, I suppose you're right. And I am perfectly content as we are. Of course, if you would prefer other company.
There's a come at a bad time. This has been wonderful, but I should be going. Let's go with the first one.
Perish the thought. I have long wished for the help of a third party, and insist you stay to aid with our research.
A third party. Splendid.
I am resolved to change our current way of life. However, in order to do so successfully, I must first determine what cultures are best suited to blend with ours. As such, my research shall involve recreating the lifestyles of other cultures within this very building.
Starts in love. Can't fucking tell, yeah.
So that was the cause for your furrowed brow of late. Well, it is a marvelous idea, Professor.
Or at least I feel like he says things that she basically misunderstands because she is, like, maybe a little bit in love with him. Perhaps. But she basically just misunderstands what he is trying to say. But he is also, like, saying things that sound a bit too, like, romantic, I guess.
Which is where your experience as a miner comes into play. I would have you gather the materials necessary for said recreations. Though we do have a great deal of resources on hand at present, they are as yet inadequate for my plans. Now, if you will excuse me, I require time to consider which culture I shall attempt to emulate first.
Have you ever seen such an inspiring sight? It is a relief to see Professor Tenkin has at last chosen a subject for his research proposal.
You know, as you see it, they're both in love and both misunderstanding each other. That could also be the thing.
I myself have long been interested in the world's myriad peoples and their customs. In fact, that is precisely why I was so keen to work with gleaners, well versed as they are in the lore of distant lands. My parents too had a love for learning of other cultures. It was their fondness for the Far East, and its beautiful flowers, that gave them inspiration for my name. Despite knowing the origins of my name, I never gave it much thought. That is, until one day when the professor commented on it in one of his enthralling lectures. However, he did not stop there. Professor Tenkin continued by musing on how even a single flower can go by many names, different regions will know it differently, after all. He then went on to talk of how this difference in location, language, and lifestyle can have a profound impact on how we think. We ORA have our roots in the Far East, though I only know the Charlian way of life, he said. I have long wondered what change might occur within my own mind should I someday visit my ancestral home. It is this very question which drives my research. Yes, even now I remember his words so clearly. That lecture inspired me to take up my current post. Yet though I have done my utmost to assist him, Our failure to present any findings has left me with naught to show of my own achievements. Oh, how I long to conduct research with him in the Far East. Just the two of us.
Just the two of you, eh? Why don't you tell him about all of this? Just the two of you, eh?
What are you implying with that tone? No, perhaps it is time I was honest for once. You see, I am rather fond of Professor Tankin. To be honest, it is more than a little disconcerting that he has not noticed my feelings when even you have. However, given that his current research is squarely focused on creating a better life for us, I feel this is an opportunity I cannot pass up. But I have no experience in matters of the heart. Like a fool, my youth was spent with my nose buried in books. Would you, perchance, be more experienced in matters of romance? I would be forever grateful for your help in winning the professor's affections.
I'm probably not the best person to ask about that.
Truly, you will help me? Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, this is a bad idea. I mean, our character probably has more knowledge than I do, at least, but at least I will not give you like extremely dumb advice. Hopefully.
Well, you two certainly seem to be getting along.
Oh, Professor. Have you come to a decision?
As you are doubtless aware, Charlian is frightfully cold all year round. However, this has led to rapid progress in our ability to control our environs. Nothing proves this fact more than Labyrinthos. It is so pleasantly warm down there you would be forgiven for thinking you were somewhere altogether more tropical. This has inspired me to look into the lifestyles of those who actually reside in balmy climes. We may yet happen upon a discovery or two that would never be made simply shivering in the cold. In line with this, the culture we shall seek to emulate first is none other than Rad's Adhans.
Splendid.
We will need you to go and collect a few things that can only be obtained in Rad's Adhan proper. Hinashi will brief you in more detail. You may
accept the quest. Be told that every single time, even though I understand why it tells me every single time, but still.
Ah, Shauna. I was just compiling a list of fish that I'll be needing for my research. Let me know when you're ready to get fishing. I'll fill you in on exactly what I would ask you to do. You may.
Okay. That's everything. All of those at least done. I would just need to, like, off stream, I guess, try and figure out how long these 5 quests take, because I'm pretty sure this is gonna unlock the same thing that's. Remember, they even have that. Nope. Basically, I have there's the stuff over in the Crystarium that we unlocked. Basically, up in the crystalline mean, there's a bunch of things we can do. I'm assuming this is the same stuff, like those delivery things. Don't know how the system works yet, but I'm assuming we'll have that interface that we have for those things once we complete these quests. But, yeah. I just need to make sure now that I actually go ahead and get Reaper leveled up to level 82. We can start doing the MSQ with that on Wednesday. But yeah, this is gonna be the end of the stream as well, because it's been like 40 minutes past the usual time that I would end the streams on a Monday. So let's see here if I can find someone to raid. Let's see here. I got a few options for people I can raid. Perhaps you. I guess we can go with Joker Girl. I don't know if she's maybe about to enter a stream or not, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, let's see. Next stream should hopefully be tomorrow. Some more of the Stardew Valley collab. So far it looks like, at least it should be happening. Why not turn off? Hope that has been muted. Good. But it was making noise over from Fancy. But yeah, the Stardew Valley collab should be happening tomorrow. I think around 6 p.m. Could be that we don't start until 6:30, but yeah, I don't fully know yet when the others are gonna be ready. Let's see. Next stream after that is gonna be Wednesday. More Final Fantasy. We're just gonna be doing more of the MSQ pretty much. And yeah, then the last stream of the week that I could have planned at least is Friday, which is gonna be a somewhat longer stream. Don't really know how long, but yeah, it's basically just gonna start at like 12, so we have like an hour before the whatchamacallit, the live letter starts. And I still need to make sure that I get basically a ton of furniture that I want to get for my house, because I'm basically planning that while we're watching the live letter, since it's all gonna be in Japanese, so I'm not gonna understand jack shit. But they do have pictures that like explain things with like English text, so we're gonna be looking at those at least. But while nothing else is happening, I'm just gonna be like decorating my house, because I kind of want to do that, because it's not really decorated right now. And it's also gonna be a slightly longer stream, but I don't know how much, like how long it is, because I don't know how long the live letter is gonna be. And depending on how long that is, we may or may not do a like do some more MSQ. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna raid Joker Girl now. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys possibly tomorrow or Wednesday. I don't know yet. So till next time, guys, I'll see ya.